Hi, welcome to Bear Mountain Farm. We're in our kitchen today and it's the new year. So we decided that we were going to talk a little bit about the past year and the focus for the new year. And we're going to do it while we're going to chop up some apples and dry them. Every year we don't make resolutions. I was going to say reservations.
Well, we have lots of reservations.
Yeah, but no resolutions because, like everybody's big joke is, by the end of the year, end of the month,
End of the day.
sometimes we've already broken it. So we tend to focus on a word or a phrase that speaks to something that we want to work on or try, or just focus on something. And one year it was focus. This year we've been looking at the past and what has been.
Well, I think for a lot of people,
2021 was
a
rough
year.
Was a rough year, and it was a rough year for us. And we are looking forward, and our word or two words is resilient and adaptability. And we think those are super important moving forward.
Yeah, because kind of when we're looking at, how things are right now, we kind of think that maybe an important thing to do is to, besides just being in the flower biz part of things, which are kind of for us has changed dramatically because of COVID. But we also kind of want to focus in on things that are, kind of maybe more oriented to better food, better diet, better health. And some of the things, that you can do, even in the off season, like now is the 1st of January or 2nd of January, I guess, by the time this comes out, is sometimes, you can come across deals of things like if you're going to Costco or something, you go, wow, they got like, a whole box of apples or something of that nature. And, but gee, I can't eat a whole box of apples before they all go bad. So that would be a great deal, but 25 pounds is way too much. Well, one of the things that you can do is, we talked about our dehydrator. I think we did a video on that a while back.
We're going to put this baby to use more.
Yeah, one of the things you can do with stuff like this that maybe is perishable, but you can come across and you find that there's a deal going on, is take advantage of that deal if you're in a store and preserve it. There's no reason why the only thing that you can preserve is what you grow out of your own garden or, what happens to be exactly in season. Sometimes some of the things, particularly if it's an organic produce that you might find, that's a deal or a sale or something like that, and it's off season, it might make sense to go ahead and do some preservation of it.
I mean, we did preserve our own apples and our own figs and
we ate a lot of them.
And we've eaten a lot of them. Then we even saw some in our apples in our neighbor's field that we went and harvested those with his permission and dried those. And we ate those too. Yeah. So now we're kind of going with apples are in season at this point. And so sometimes we have a market that closes up for the season, but you can still buy bulk apples and squashes and pumpkins and things like that. So you want to take advantage of those. And right now, we're just taking advantage of something, some apples that were a good deal from the grocery store.
Yeah, we're just going to do a couple here today, just kind of give you an example of the process that we go through. Ultimately, in the end, I think this variety is called, Pink Lady? Something like that. It's kind of a fall apple, but it's an eater. So it's not really super tart. It's kind of like a semi-sweet. So
it's not super sweet either.
Yeah, it's kind of like in between. And what we do is when we dry these guys out, we typically will put it in the dehydrator. Let me just pull out a couple examples of these right here. Once you hold those up, if you can, we'll take some close-up pictures of these. But basically, what we do is we use some vitamin C to keep them from turning brown. We core them and then we just slice them and
leave the skins on.
Leave the skins on because there's lots of good stuff in the skin. Put a little cinnamon or apple spice on it or
Anything that
anything
you
a
like.
spice that
They're
you like.
tasty without.
Yeah, they're
but,
tasty without.
We're just giving them a little zip.
Yeah, we don't put any sugars or anything
No.
like that on it. But then what we do with these guys is these guys will keep for probably 6 months. But honestly, we go through them fairly fast because they're great. They're great to put in something like you cut it up and you say like you're making an oatmeal or something like that.
Something hearty.
They'll rehydrate, while the oatmeal is slow cooking. So you can cut up a bunch of these guys and throw it in your oatmeal, and they're already spiced. And
they're a nice snack.
Yeah, and they can be a nice snack too. So.
Yeah.
But the nice thing about it is the apples, when you buy them, maybe you get a week or so out of them and they kind of start going, unless you
can't eat them that fast.
Unless you got a root cellar to store them in. But
this is the way we would do it.
So what we do for preservation is you can buy and a bag of vitamin C powder, which is ascorbic acid. Okay, this is the same stuff they put in Fruit Fresh and charge you probably 3 times as much for. But basically, Fruit Fresh is ascorbic acid, vitamin C. And if you take this powder, you can get it Amazon or any place actually, or grocery stores probably have it too. But it's used basically as a supplement for people to put in like drinks, something like that.
We put a little tiny
on your water
pinch in all the water that we drink, just so that we get nice vitamin C to stay healthy during cold and flu season, and it really makes a difference. And that way, then you're absorbing just.
As you can tell, I'm puzzled because I had a teaspoon out here.
It's right here.
Oh, it hid. It's out. Forgetting things. So anyway, what we do for preservation for the food is we put 4 cups of water in our bowl here. And then we just put a good teaspoon in and just mix it up. And as we cut and slice the apple slices before we lay them out on the dryer, we'll just sit them in here in the water. And that way they won't be exposed to the air and they won't oxidize. And
you don't have to do this.
No, I mean, it just keeps them from turning brown.
It just keeps them from turning brown, but that's not a big deal either. It's not a safety point or anything like that.
It's a visual thing.
It's just a visual thing that they look really nice being snowy white, but they're just as tasty if they've turned slightly brown.
Yeah, it's cosmetic more than anything else.
Totally.
And, little vitamin C's left on it too, so you boost it. So these apples are unwashed and everything. They feel a little waxy, but I think we got most of it off. It actually kind of feels kind of natural.
Yeah, I think they're good.
So you got to kind of take that into account too. If you're buying fruit that's been sprayed with a waxy preservative to kind of keep it food grade wax, it doesn't hurt you or anything like that. But we try to wash that stuff off if it is. But I don't think actually these guys had any on them anyway. Apple core. This is just a simple little device, and what we do is you just push it down from the center top where you see the stem, and squish it down. I kind of tend to turn it to kind of make it go all the way through to feel it to the end. And then since you turned it a couple times, it pulls out a nice core like that. So the apple is now, the core is gone, or at least the majority of it. I mean, cores aren't perfect because, they kind of go through an apple because apples aren't perfect. But as you slice it apart, you'll see if there's anything more that needs to be removed. But basically, this gets the base core and seeds and things like that. So they're all in it. And that goes into the bokashi bucket or compost pile. Now, before we do that, if you wanted to, if you say you didn't want the peel on it,
I want the peel.
This would be the point where you would peel it.
I'm not peeling.
But we want to keep the peel.
Because it's fiber.
Right.
Now can I cut them?
Well, yeah, but see, now you're going to cut slices, right?
You said slices.
Right. So slice, I'll give you something that's, that's not a knife. This is a knife.
Okay. This is also the wife standing back when he comes in with.
So I just kind of tend to slice them to about
You put the knife out.
Yeah, I know. I just set you up.
For what?
Well, I got to thinking about it afterwards. Okay, yeah, why don't you take a look at this?
Okay, so these are the nice slices that he's cut.
Hey, I'm not perfect. They're not perfect yet, but you try to get between 1/8 and 1/4 inch.
And in they go.
Yep. So basically, it just becomes slicing them all up and put them in here. We try to do if we're going to do drying is we try to do at least like 4 trays at a pop, because that's kind of where the dehydrator, they kind of said that's kind of the level that it works the best at. And so for each tray, it probably takes 2 to 3 apples, depending.
Part of the core.
Yeah, if you find part of the core in it, actually a little bit of core wouldn't kill you.
I'm not steady enough with my shoulder for the last narrow cut. That was part of the challenge for this past year is major sore, irritated, aggravated shoulder.
Yeah, it's old
for a while
bursitis.
there was a rotator cuff problem. It probably still is, but part of the hassle is bursitis now. And so, as Tony likes to joke, I am now a T-Rex with little tiny arms trying to do stuff.
Kind of reaching is a little tricky till it gets better.
Above my head is painful. So I'm a little T-Rex at this point with
So I'm just going to core all these guys, and then what we'll do is we'll speed up the camera at this point to make it look like we're working really fast.
But we're also supposed to be talking about why we chose resilience.
Why did you choose that?
Because it was such a rough year, and I think moving forward we got to keep moving and adapting to what works, and letting go of things that don't work. My arm. I'm not very fast anymore because I'm right-handed, and it's really bummer to lose your right arm and shoulder to such a painful thing. Being resilient and adaptable, we think is...
Also, just as a side note, sometimes too, check for sometimes you can have bruises that you can't see on the outside, but if you look at when you could make your cut in your apple, you can kind of see sometimes it's like a different color. We just try to make sure there aren't any bruise spots or anything.
Right there.
Yeah, they happen.
But back to our word, some of the positive things that worked out, like we started to say, was the Jadam and K&F experiments that we did throughout the year and past years have really...
Yeah, I think they started to kick in this year.
Yeah.
They started to make
what's your
difference.
thoughts on that, Mr. Experiment?
Well, like the zinnias were fantastic. They, as late as they were, they still came on really well. So did the marigolds. I think it made a big difference in the tunnel for looking at our Lysianthus that we had this year, first time.
Yeah,
and
they were wonderful.
we raised them from seed, so that's why it was kind of a first time that we had our own.
Done them in the past, and not super successful. Other than the first year we didn't try, and then every year we tried really hard. And this year we sort of said, if it works, it works. And so I think not caring is the key.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. Don't fuss them with them too much. Once they're transplanted up, just make sure they're protected and watered, and give them a little fertilizer on a regular basis, and that worked out well.
But in terms of resilience going forward and your experiments, what do you see coming up for 2022?
Well, I think a lot of what we were doing is we were experimenting with different levels of things in different places to see how things would react. And I think, now we've kind of got enough of the liquid fertilizer, and we kind of know how to scale up the things like the JMS and things like that. I think we're going to be able to apply things on a much broader basis a lot easier. Basically, a lot of this last year till the very end, we were applying things by hand, and now we've got the Venturi fertilizer type system going. So I think we can start applying it more regularly. And okay,
Cool.
so that one's might have a bruise.
In terms of food, since I'm the one that does the seeding, we're gonna work a little harder to do better with our veggies. We had some huge successes.
Mm-hmm.
We had awesome potatoes.
Yeah, they worked out really
awesome
good.
Sweet potatoes. A pretty good pumpkin squash season. Tomatoes, not super great. They were tasty, but
we experimented with some new varieties that I think in hindsight weren't exactly the best.
We didn't get what we were hoping for in terms of canning and all that kind of stuff. We had a good bean crop.
We are going to try to buy lids, right?
Yeah.
That was one of the challenges for
That's
2021.
The other thing was we're going to add a couple more things in. We're going to do peas, just a small amount of peas, spring peas to eat.
But a lot of snow peas.
We're doing the regular snow peas, but spring peas, and that's not including the sweet peas that we grow for flowers, which we're going to be starting next week.
Yep.
And so right now what we're enjoying, despite having a ton of snow, which is gone now, but with
a ton, you have to put that in perspective.
it's a lot for us. It's
3 inches in Western Oregon is a lot.
It was like 4 or 5 total. Lost my train of thought. That we're enjoying right now is kale and spinach and one of the lettuces that's hardy enough that will go through
winter density.
Winter density. I'm not sure if you can still get it, but it's so good. And
it's kind of a romaine type.
They didn't even get phased by all the snow, so that was pretty cool. And so that's in terms of vegetables that we're going to make happen. In terms of our flowers, we're just going to continue to grow what we always have.
We're going to do more Lysianthus this year.
Yeah, we are doing more Lysianthus. Ow.
Okay, so now we're going to the next phase, which we're just kind of laying these guys out on the individual trays.
And we're going to add a little bit more. We're thinking of some strawberries to just have a small amount of fruit.
No jam.
No jam or anything like that. You can't have that
just
kind
either
of stuff.
to dry them or to just eat them fresh. Oops.
So.
Okay.
Anyway, so that's what we're doing is our word of the year, and you'll probably see it often when we say, this is what we're doing in terms of resilience and adaptability for our farm. So, anything more you want to say?
No, I think next year we're going to have fun.
Yeah, let's do that too. Let's not be so
that's basically it.
serious.
A nice little tray of apples. we put it on here,
and we keep going.
and we just keep going till we get a stack of 4 of them. And then what we're going to do is we start these guys out at kind of a high temp, right around 150. We let it run for a couple hours, and then we'll back it down to about 140 until they're dry. And how we tell when they're dry is they're going to feel leathery, and you definitely won't notice any kind of moisture in it. And they actually you can kind of tear them apart.
But they have a little bend, but
not crispy. You're not going all the way to potato chip.
But you also don't want them to be super bendy, because that says they still have moisture.
Right.
So it's kind of a fine line, and you got to keep checking.
Right.
The other thing, we normally dry everything outside on our kitchen porch out there, and this is going to stay inside because
it's going to smell better.
Wonderful.
It's going to smell like apple pie.
Yeah.
Storage afterwards when they're done. Now this is just an example, but we tend to use larger glass, wide mouth, and then we bought these lids from
one of the grocery stores.
Was it? Yeah. Okay. But anyway, they've got a silicone seal on the inside of it, and they're reusable. So
they're not for canning purposes, like in a water bath or pressure canner. It's just to hold dried things.
Yeah.
It's perfect. Then you don't have to burn a lid.
So and they fit perfect on your care
jars.
or ball jars, and you get them narrow mouth or you can get them wide mouth.
Yes,
right?
both sides.
Right.
So they are a great investment, because we're going to do more dried things.
Right. Now the other thing you might have noticed is that there's these silicone trays that and they came with the dehydrator. You could lay them directly on the tray itself, but the nice thing about this is any juices or anything, the majority of it are going to be on this, and it's easier to get anything that is stuck, if it does get stuck, off of the silicone than it is off of necessarily the plastic tray itself.
Great. So I'm just going to finish up on the group that's in the water.
Okay.
And we'll just continue on.
Right. So anything else you want to add about, besides wishing everybody a Happy New Year, and thank you so much, everybody, for watching us this last year. It's been very much appreciated. It's been awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome.
And, well, seriously, it has.
Are we super excited?
Yes, we are. But the thing that is, when we first started this, we thought, well, just a few people will watch. It was kind of a good way
mostly our relatives.
Yeah, it was a great way of letting our relatives know that, we're still here. And I guess they really super enjoyed it, right?
Yeah, guess so.
And but then it was just like, you all started to enjoy it with us. We're doing it, and it's like, sometimes we just look at each other and go, I can't believe this. Too old you-know-whats can actually get 1 million views. I mean, we hit 1 million views this year. That was like surprising. But thank you. It's so wonderful. And we do appreciate. Yeah, we totally do. Even if we can't get to all the comments, we read them all. We try really hard. That's all I got. Yep, that's good enough. Do that other apple? Nah, we're good. Last? That's good enough. That's our 4th tray, even though you're not. Oh, yeah, it is 4th. Yeah. So we're good. So anyway, just wanted to say thank you. Yep. And we'll just keep at this for the upcoming year. And if you have any questions or comments, leave them below. And thanks for watching, folks. And during this trying times, we've still got a little bit more to go, I guess, on the thing out there that's kind of been plaguing us for a while. Hopefully, this will be the end of it. And so everybody stay safe. Yep. Stay healthy. Yep. And we'll catch you on the next video. Bye-bye. Bye.